While President Biden prepared to celebrate Pride Month and issue an executive order to advance the LGBTQ plus cause, the Federal Reserve increased interest rates by 0.75 of a percentage point. That's the largest increase since 1994. Now, Chairman Powell indicates that further rate increases are coming. What does this mean for the U.S. economy? And more importantly, what does it mean for you and your family? I mean, I don't know if the administration is just trying to distract away from the consequences of their policies. I mean, you're paying $5 a gallon for gasoline. Interest rates are going up. Your take-home pay being eaten up by inflation, your savings, your retirement. And so what does the president spend his time doing? Promoting perversion and corrupting the minds of our children. That's what he's focused on. But I want to look at I'm going to see, I think did we get Stephen? Okay, we're working to connect with Steve Moore, who's an economist, to talk about this. But in the meantime, I want to go quickly to Travis Weber, Vice President of Policy here at the Family Research Council. We're working on this issue of the DOJ and the Biden administration being silent on the attacks on pro-life organizations and care pregnancy centers. Travis Weber, welcome back to the program.
Thank you, Tony.
All right. Anything out of the administration to explain why they're doing nothing?
Nothing out of the administration to explain why they're doing nothing. I think the statements that we have seen from them have been very equivocal, unaccepting, at an unacceptable level. They've equivocated, tried to provide a moral equivalence between the threats and attacks against crisis pregnancy centers and places of worship in recent weeks with the almost non-existent threat from those claiming to hold a pro-life view against abortion businesses and facilities. So there is a problem when it's very obvious they should be calling attention to and saying that this is against the law. They will enforce the law to prosecute these instances when it's clearly an emerging threat.
Right.
And we can imagine the shoe being on the other foot and everyone crying bloody murder about this.
Well, just on Monday, there was another attack, an arsonist attack. This was in Washington State against a pro-life state legislator. So, and then earlier today, the Jane's Revenge issuing a statement saying the 30 days of patience and mercy are over, and they're going to step up their attacks. Again, nothing from the administration saying that we're going to prosecute this as domestic terrorism.
Yeah, we don't see that statement that we need. And Tony, there are current federal and state laws on the books that the administration can call attention to. At the federal level, they can use the tools that the DOJ has access to in terms of federal criminal statutes and other statutes to at least outline how these things are against the law, number one. Number two, initiate investigations and prosecutions. And at the state level, they can note that these activities are against various state laws, state provisions of state criminal code or civil code. And the tools are there. We just need those in leadership to be willing to enforce clear violations of the law.
Yeah, what's interesting is a lot of these attacks are taking place in blue states where they know that the authorities there are going to kind of turn a blind eye to the activities, and of course the feds doing the same. So I think one of the solutions is if this happens in a state where you actually have elected officials who abide by the law, and usually those are Republicans because so many Democrats don't particularly care for upholding the law. We need to see more aggressive enforcement of law in those red states.
We do. And Tony, this is something that we, at FRC have discussed and been focusing on elsewhere, that the split and division between what's coming out of states even before Dobbs is decided. You have state authorities indicating their lack of willingness to enforce laws that are on the books. This is a deeper problem than even one case or prosecution because it points to a breakdown in the rule of law when you have public officials neglecting their duty and openly saying they're going to neglect their duty to enforce laws on the books, whether they're prosecutions of violations of state criminal law against those committing violence against crisis pregnancy centers or houses of worship, or a failure to enforce current laws protecting life that are on the books. Regardless of what we think of that law, if we're in a public position of trust charged with investigating enforcement, we need to enforce the law or recuse ourselves or resign if it's a violation of our conscience, or deal with it that way in another avenue. But you don't just say we're going to pick and choose. This creates a breakdown in trust, breakdown in our entire system of government in the United States.
Yeah, I remember not too long ago when there were local elected officials who objected from a moral standpoint of performing same-sex weddings, and the weight of the government came down on them for not engaging personally in an activity that violated their conscience. Here we're talking about people who are violating a law, committing acts of violence, and officials silent. Travis Weber, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.